Is that nice?
That is good, thank you very much.
Excellent, I'm very pleased. Hello, welcome to the channel and another edition of...
The English Couple. Hello.
That'll be us lot.
That'll be you and me and thee.
Today, you're looking at the kitchen from a different angle because we just fancied doing something.
Change?
Yes, a change.
A change is as good as a
rest.
Yes, that's the one.
That's the one. So we thought today what we would do is talk about our favourite kitchen implements. Whether that be for cooking, whether that's just a favourite armchair to sit in and put your feet up and read by the fire.
Sorry, I couldn't bring my favourite armchair today.
No, I haven't actually got a favourite armchair.
No, me neither.
In my
But
kitchen.
it was a good joke.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't a joke. It was I'd love to have had one in
Yeah.
here. Because at one point, instead of where the sink was going to be, I was going to have a little two-seater so that we could put our feet up by the Essie.
Yeah,
That
two-seated to put a feet up
Yeah, you and I would sit there with our feet on a poof.
in front of the lovely warm SC.
And now, so my number one favourite item in the kitchen has to be the Essie, which...
Who knew? Who knew?
Who knew? Which you can't see it, but we're filming at 10:30 in the morning on whatever day it is, Wednesday I think it is. But it's on. I've lit it this morning. I don't normally light it till the afternoon, but it was pretty mucky and horrible and rainy because the sod's law is the sun has come out now.
It is.
But it's on, isn't it? And it's
Blooming
nice and
sun.
warm. Ow! Bloody hell.
That
is
was
warm.
silly.
And to prove that,
Blooming
I'm going to put the kettle
On.
there. And you see, one of the great things about having a wood burning stove in the kitchen, or an oil burning Rayburn or Arga or one of those sort of things, is of course that rather than having to rely, particularly at the moment, on electricity to boil the kettle, which is actually quite wasteful of electricity.
It's quite a lot of energy that
Yeah.
goes into a kettle, isn't there?
And especially as people have this bizarre habit of filling the kettle right up and then only having one cup, which of course they're using so much electricity to fill up just one cup, which is daft. So the great thing about this is you have the kettle. This is another of my favourite things. Is this lovely?
These are a few of our favourite kitchen things.
Exactly. Is that I just continually top this up. I don't always have it on the hot plate, but I'll have it on the Essie throughout the day when it's on
So it shouldn't be too far from...
boiling.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's constantly warming up. So that's one of mine. Julia, what about you?
Well, I have a few favourite things here. One has to be this lovely pair of tongs. I think it's always good to have...
Pair of
tongs, I say.
tongs.
Kitchen tongs.
Yeah.
You always need a good pair of kitchen tongs, at least one pair, right?
And they've got weird ends.
This
haven't
is silicon. It seems to be all the rage in kitchen utensils at the minute, which, I mean, it's heat proof. What's the word? There is a proper word for that.
they? Yeah.
It does melt at a certain point, but, you know.
So they don't burn unless you
No.
put them in a flame, I
Yeah.
suppose.
But they're a little bit flexible and
Yeah.
a bit grippy, I find.
And do they stain? Can they wash clean?
I think they've not stained, and I've used all sorts of different things. Like
Oh.
turmeric is something I use quite a lot of. Mind you, I suppose I don't really tong the turmeric, do I?
No.
It's
No, I was
usually
just.
steaks
I was only
or-
thinking because the comparison would be stainless steel, wouldn't it?
Yes. That's
they're
true.
very-
That's true.
they're
So they're
very
very
handy.
handy.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
all sorts of things.
Especially if you've got something very smelly in the kitchen and you need to pinch your nose. Very handy.
Yes. And I always find it's good to have a nice sturdy potato masher, because you get all sorts of different feeble ones. You know, you start putting any pressure on it and it starts bending and warping, and so irritating. And heaven knows I love my mashed potato.
Yes, I do like good old mashed potato. What's your favourite potato for mashing?
Maris Piper, however
yeah.
you pronounce that.
Yeah, good old Maris Piper.
I do love them. They're great.
I quite like those red ones.
Oh yes.
You know, the red skins. I don't know what they are. They seem to crumble up. Because some potatoes, you put them on the boil, these modern varieties, and they crumble before they're even cooked. They're already going... and especially if they've still got... and I leave the skins on to try and hold them together. And then
Yeah.
if you don't leave the skins on, you might as well just make soup with them. But you're right. And that is a good healthy
solid
masher.
So what have you got over there?
Right, so this here, older listeners,
Looks fantastic.
viewers rather,
Very tactile.
will
Well, you don't want to get too tactile with it.
Yes, this is a meat grinder.
Yeah. So it turns meat into, or maybe steak or chunks of meat into
I guess into mince. And you put it on the edge of a table like that. And, you know, if you've had an argument with your lover, you stick their arm in there and they won't be able to slap you. That's the theory. And then, of course, you spend quite a few years in prison, I believe. But no, quite a lethal thing. Now, I have to thank the lovely Linda Kane, who came round yesterday. Unfortunately,
Sorry, we missed you.
I was upstairs filming the Made in England show, so I didn't hear the knock on the door because I was
busy
too
with
busy
kids.
ranting and raving. But
What's new, Pussycat?
absolutely. So yeah, I absolutely love it, and we will have to try this. My question is though,
Right, if you can see the mechanism.
it comes out
working.
extruded presumably there, doesn't
Yeah.
it? In the
Little
lumps.
strips and stuff.
And I think there's a dial here that you can change the size of the hole. But I want to know, because
What do you want?
I suppose I'm of an age I ought to know this, but I'm asking those people who do know, who used to do this sort of thing in the old days, what kind of meat do you put in it? Because when you go in the supermarkets now, you don't see a great big block of meat that you could shove in there, or a big sausage. So what would you put in there? Would you put in... You wouldn't put in a steak, would you? That would be sacrilege, wouldn't it? Because a
Yeah,
steak
a
would be
steak.
too nice.
Yeah.
So it must be a cut from an animal that you'd have to go to the butcher in the old days and go, I want some mince, and they would give it to you, and presumably you would do it yourself.
I've just had a thought. I think they used to use offcuts
Right.
to mince. That's why mincing was good, because you didn't
You're using it up.
see what
yeah.
the offcuts were.
So anyway, there was, yeah, brilliant. Over to you.
Over to me. Well, I know there's a few of them around here now, and where we have that lovely tea set that very lovely Linda again acquired for us, and the original one actually had
original
a cracked
teapot,
handle. Yes, so she's miraculously sourced another one for us. I can't believe this angel.
Angel, yes. So we had one which came with the tea set. As you say, it was cracked. It also had
Oh, yes.
this, and it was glued.
Glued back on and-
But we didn't want to fill it up with tea in case the handle came off. And the last thing you need is a
Yeah,
teapot crashing on you with hot tea
right.
burning your legs.
Now you've got a cream one of these that you were using when not on camera, weren't
Yeah.
you? With it.
Because we use the tea set all the time.
We do.
We do. You don't, not just on camera. It's not just for for effect.
I have certainly become accustomed to the taste or the sensation of a tea in a china cup. It's not something I was particularly into before. Not that I wasn't.
Not into it, but
Just I hadn't really discovered the joys of it.
And the thing is, I mean, here we are. I'm drinking coffee. You're drinking your strange lemon tea today, just
no.
for ease. And of course, most people do a lot of that. But that thing about sitting down in the front room or in the kitchen when you're having a chat or cooking or something, and it's that rigmarole. It's not the rigmarole.
It's that routine, that ritual.
That ritual. There you go. Of brewing the tea and having a cup and a saucer and maybe a couple of biscuits, shush, don't tell anyone, or a slice of homemade bread or something on a plate, and having the whole set. It's absolutely brilliant. And I think sometimes convenience makes things very utilitarian. Mugs are handy. You can walk about and you can just drink them and sit in the office and all the rest of it. But actually, having a cup of tea and having a break from all the stresses and works and stuff, and just sit down and brew the tea and pour the tea and add the milk and all of that. It just, it's a leveler, isn't it?
Yeah. It brings to mind when we've sat down with the tea set and been so into it, we've thought, we need to fill the kettle, the teapot again.
Yes.
So we fill the teapot again. And it makes me think of the Mad Hatter's Tea Party.
Oh,
as
and you
depicted.
fill up the kettle and
Alison-
put in the more
that's it,
water
Alison
and you have more tea and just have another one, and you run into the loo because I think tea is a diuretic, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, but that's okay. You've got to keep the waterworks going.
So my purple teapot is another one of my favourite things.
It's a lovely colour, isn't it? Isn't it lovely?
It might not be china, but it's lovely. Well, Price and Kensington, I think that's the same as your
I think it
other
is.
one. That'd be nice to find out where they're based.
I know, Kensington probably. So this is a old-fashioned weighing scales, which I just love because it's old-fashioned and it's something physical about it. It's
Tactile.
tactile. It's also beautiful to look at. And in another
Satisfying.
video, I think what we should do is just see how accurate it is with these weights against a digital thing. Because actually, in my bread making, for convenience, I do use this very simple flat weighing scale, digital thing, which is very handy. But I would love to weigh out my flour and whatever else I'm making, or cakes, you know, and sugar and
So
things.
much more satisfying.
Absolutely, and seeing it do that, I just think there's something, I don't know.
Joyful, I'd say.
Yes. So that's another fave of mine. Now you've brought loads of
I
little,
did bring
little
lots
items.
of little things, like these 2 spoons. Two examples of some of the spoons I've got at home. This one, I believe it's actually a bass guitar, an electric bass guitar.
I don't know if you can see those. It might be out of focus, so try and take a picture.
Yes.
Um,
But I like it.
What do
Not
you
to mention
call-
because it's rainbow chrome, I think they call that patterning.
Rainbow chrome. So it's a sort of teal and purple.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So this one obviously is like a Knickerbocker Glory one, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
like these because, as you know, I like to take my Lift lemon tea. There's a plug there. I like to take it in a pint glass with, you know, half hot and then half cold, and
Here's-
maybe some ice in the summer.
Here's a question.
So that,
is perfect for it.
Yes.
Whilst you've mentioned the glass thing,
oh yes,
I want to just ask, because I don't know why I've been brought up fearing putting boiling water into, say, a pint glass, and you have no fear about doing that.
no, I mean I love physics, and you know I've very much learned. I've been doing it, you know, for a long time. Not physics. I mean, well, yes, physics. We've all been doing physics all our lives. But the act of putting hot water in a glass to make this lemon tea.
And it hasn't smashed.
No, I've never smashed a glass.
No,
like
I don't know
but-
why I'm fearful of that. I think
But
maybe...
I've seen people do that.
Yeah.
But I've never done it.
Right.
Yeah, it's all about.
Well, you have done it. You just told me you
No,
did
I
it.
meant I've never broken a glass with hot
Oh, I
water.
see, yes.
And it's about whether the glass is warm or cold when you start. If it's cold and you put hot water in, it will shatter.
Ah, right, because it's brittle. Right.
But if it's warm, or at least room temperature,
Yes,
and you
it
just
should be
put a
all
little
right.
bit in, it'll be fine.
Because
It's
my
just-
mum would always, if she did anything like a hot lemon and honey in a glass, she would always put the spoon in and leave the spoon in to take the base heat out, so that the boiling. But you know, people wash in very hot water, don't they?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
anyway,
But
I
this-
just thought I'd ask that as you mentioned.
This
it.
cooling thing, though, I mean, that's what the China teacups are great for, because it just cools it just enough, just quickly enough that you can drink it fairly soon
Yes.
after it's been poured. Normally, when a tea's just been poured, I can't drink it for 5 minutes.
Right.
In
In
these
a mug,
mugs.
because it doesn't take away the heat quickly
Yeah,
enough.
and I've got a sensitive mouth.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, I know.
So what else have you got
What
there?
else
You've
have
got
I
lots of interesting things.
Now on to some cake making type things.
Right.
Silicon cupcake holders.
Yes.
They're
these
great. I mean, I
Because
know
they're reusable, aren't they?
they are reusable, and they're great toys as well with the Play-Doh and things. My youngest has enjoyed playing with them, and my eldest actually did as well.
What do you mean with play? To make
Yeah,
Play-Doh?
yeah, he'll put the Play-Doh in and
Oh, I see.
pretend make a cupcake and things like that.
Oh, right. And they're cleanable and washable. Can
Yeah.
you put them in a dishwasher and
Yep,
things
they're
like
dishwasher, cleanable.
Amazing.
So it's this modern technology. the
that? Technology,
silicone.
I don't
It's
stand
the,
with
the,
it.
the new and the old here.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks.
A nice eclectic mix of both is handy. and
Well, I
helpful.
think
you know,
it
it's
is,
the,
yeah.
using the best of what's
Some
available
days
to you, isn't it?
you need the convenience of modern, and other days it's just the beauty of old, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes just because something's new doesn't mean it's
No, of
just,
course not.
you know,
Rubbish.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I get that. No, of course, because otherwise we'd all be in caves still with fires and things like that.
Exactement.
Exactly. It's just that at some point, design in, say, 40, 50 years ago, particularly British design, I think just had, you know, you look at phone boxes and you look at those old-fashioned cars and you look at things like that. We had a sense, things were beautiful. And now things are very much more utilitarian. They're
Yeah.
they're sufficient to do the job, but the
Throwaway.
aesthetic has gone.
They're throwaway, aren't
Yeah,
they?
and we live in a throwaway society as well.
But I've also got cookie cutters. I've actually picked my two favourite of the cookie cutters I've got.
You better explain what they are, those shapes.
That's a unicorn head.
A unicorn head.
I don't know if you can...
Yeah.
Anyway, and a rearing unicorn.
Here, put it
I
up
like
against this.
unicorns.
Only because I've got a plain
Yeah,
thing
a
on.
solid colour. So I love those. When I was digging these out, I realised I don't have any seasonal ones. So I don't have any Halloweeny type ones. I don't have any
I
Christmas
don't have
ones.
any. I've got just round ones
No,
to
no.
make the. And I bought to make the mince pies that I did last year, which we will do again. And we made the other day apple pies
Yes.
using these two simple ones to do a base of pastry. and a lid.
Yeah. And I actually used a knife to cut out some little apples,
Yes,
didn't
and
I?
presumably, if you're a bit artistic, you could easily make your own shapes.
If we do make any Christmas cookies, we can try and
Make
cut
them
by
yourself.
hand. Yeah, can't we?
Absolutely. Why expend? Now we got a competition in the next one because Julia brought one from her kitchen and I've got one in my kitchen. I don't know what this says about us, but I'm an individual person, so I only need a tiddly one. And you've
I've got a family. So when we're making lemonade, traditional
Yes.
lemonade in the summer, which my eldest likes to sell on the driveway.
To pass us by,
we need as much to collect as possible.
So that's quite a big thing. I mean, at first I thought you never see a lemon that big to go over it, whereas you're more likely to see a lemon go over the little nipple, I suppose it is.
But I like yours because you screw it closed, and it seals shut, so you could knock it, and the liquid's still going to stay in there as long as you.
And
don't
then
tip
when
it
you've
upside
done
down.
it, yes, when you've done it, that just fixes in there.
Oh, yeah.
But when you've done it, it pours out very easily.
I didn't know that.
Oh, what's that? You've got another one underneath.
Yes, so it's got a big one, so that's maybe for oranges, and then a smaller one for lemons, which is
pretty much
about
the same
size as that one.
Oh, there you go. All these years.
I can make orange juice with this as well.
Yeah. Multi-use.
Not that I hadn't
Multi-use.
already.
So this was left. This is a Kenwood blender or a smoothie maker or a multiple thing on the edge of the screen here, left over by my daughter who now lives in New Zealand, and she'd set up home. Then she sold her flat, and she left a whole load of things, and that was one. And it was just sitting in the shed. And I said to her, "Look, this is sitting in the shed. It's just going to, get ruined. Do you mind if I use it?" But I don't think she's coming back soon because she's got her residency.
Yeah.
So. And I'm sure that Jacinda Ahern won't let anybody leave, So I'm using it, and it's great. So
Yes.
that's I very rarely. I have got another little old-fashioned one that we bought when I was married some 30 years ago, a Moulinix mixer or something. It was one of these multi things that you bolt things onto it and you turn it around and it jumps up and down and does everything. And then, of course, you lose all the bits.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I've got this handheld, mixer that I usually use with a big jug. That does quite well. I mean, it does so well. I've had it for 20 years or something.
Oh, right.
And I'd always wanted one of those big mixers and with all the gubbins and all the little attachments and things. I finally got one, fairly basic, but had lots, plenty of gadgets to do all the things you wanted. I don't really use it.
No.
No, I use the hand, Zhuzha.
the
hand one.
What have you got over here? These are curious things.
These are more cooking utensils. Now,
Yeah.
this thing, I can't remember where I got it
That looks
or
to
how
me
long I've had it.
like a James Bond. There's a scene in a James Bond film where they open up a satellite in space. And what is it?
Well, I don't know what it's actually called, but I use it as a kind of steamer. It means that I can use a normal cooking pan with lid
Right.
as a kind of steamer. So, for example, I've cooked, I've boiled some water and had some carrots softening in there, and then I'll put this in on top, and I could put the broccoli on there.
Oh, I see. Oh, right. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
That's what I use it for.
Yes.
So I love it. It's great. And at the end of at the end of making the meal, if I can't sit down and eat mine straight away because I'm still running around after the kids, what they're after, I could place it over the top of my meal, and the cats can't get it.
Oh, that's
Yay!
fantastic.
So I love this. And then these, more silicone and plastic, I'm afraid, but they are brilliant. Because without the silicone, they wouldn't be able to pop
what is
out
that, a
like this.
colander?
It's a colander, basically. You've got 3 different sizes.
Why would you need 3 different sizes? I mean, I've got a
Well, for
colander, but it's-
for different pan sizes. So put it over your pan, for example.
Oh, I see.
Or you pour your stuff in.
Yes.
For example, pasta. You
Yes.
poured your pasta in over the sink, then you pop it back in the pan to carry it back and serve it.
Right.
So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
so-
I've got one of your basic steel, stainless
yeah,
steel.
yeah. I've got a
cover
couple of
things.
those as well because these aren't strainers as such.
But these would be good in the
Without
van,
strainers,
this
they're
sort
not
of thing,
sieves.
just a small portable thing like that, because of the folding up bit. But I guess it's a space saver.
Yes, absolutely. To be honest, I don't really use the little one, so you can have that.
Oh, that's very kind of you. Stick that
Pleasure.
in the van.
Yeah, because I'm at home, I only ever need the larger 2, the middle and the large.
Oh,
But
that's
I've probably
very
only used it a couple of times, which is why it's,
clean.
well, I say clean, but look, it's got kind of that white dusting on it.
Oh yeah, mold.
Wash? No.
No.
This is where the silicone's not been
Used.
used.
So the other thing that in the kitchen that I really like, again, it's a sort of permanent fixture and fixings thing, which you can just about see, is I love having the saucepans up above the Essie. They're out the way, rather than in a cupboard where you've got to bend down and go, oh God, where is the bloody thing? Clatter, clatter, bang, bang. I instantly can grab them. The only thing about that is, of course, it keeps them nice and warm, so when you put them in, they're not stone cold, and all of that is helpful. But because it's above the Essie and you're loading in logs and there's smoke and ash sometimes, you know, they do get a slight covering of ash. So I always take one off, and just before I use it, I'll
Dust it out.
just give it a dust round. But that's, you know, but look, it's room temperature. It's all ready to go.
Yeah.
There's no,
In fact, I'd say it's above room temperature. It's nice. It's lovely.
Yeah.
Warm your hands on that when you come in.
absolutely.
I've got a similar bar, but not over my stove or oven. But yeah, I hang all my utensils on it. I've got these hook things like you've got.
Yeah.
They're great, aren't they?
They're sort of
Nice,
S-shaped
easy,
hooks.
accessible hanging space, you know.
Brilliant. Well, listen, we've run out of time again. So easy.
Oh,
What?
one more thing.
Oh, one more thing. Go for it.
I've never used this. It's a cute little tea strainer I bought about 2 months ago. But I need to get some loose teas to use with it. It's a black cat. I have black cat.
What we want to do, and I haven't told you this, is but another idea,
Oh.
is I want to get in touch with good old Richard Smith from the Kent and Sussex Tea Company, get a whole assortment of different teas, and then on future English couple shows, no matter what we're doing and what we're talking about, we could try a different tea on each show.
I wonder if he'd do another bit with us. We could take our tea set.
Take our tea set up there. Yeah, I'm sure. In the spring and summer when the weather is nice and travelling is maybe the
Yeah.
petrol prices have come down. But that's it. Well, what we would like to know from you in the comments, please. What is your favourite kitchen utensil bits? Now, you may not want old-fashioned stuff. You may want something modern. You may say, my microwave is a lifesaver. I very rarely use my microwave, but I do use it. I have got one occasionally, you know, if I haven't lit the Essie. Or I've got one of those induction hobs,
Induction
which again I do use.
You do
I
use.
do.
I do use.
I do use, like a dodo. But so what is it that you enjoy? What is your favourite thing, your must-have? I mean, I love my steamer, which I didn't mention.
Oh, yes.
Because the steamer
There's
is great.
just so many things. We
There's
couldn't
so
fit
many
them all
things,
in.
yeah. But what have you got? Slow cooker, maybe? If you go out and just shove stuff in it, a cheese grater, it could be anything, you know, baking tins.
Oh, yes, a little chocolate grater. But I actually use it to grate
chocolate-
nutmeg and
I was
cinnamon.
going to say, the chocolate would never get to the grater if I had the chance to get hold of it. Anyway, Julia, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching. And we will see you next time. Bung your comments in below. But from Julia and I,
It's ta-ra for now.
bye.
Bye.